Sorry about that, my battery just went flat. Well, as I was saying, New Zealand is run by threatening, intimidating, violent thugs. And the entire problem in this case is that there's four ways for it to be addressed. There's the government calling for a Royal Commission of Inquiry, which they're quite reluctant to do because they've already had 2 Queen's Counsel investigations. And the second Queen Counsel investigation, even though it found in my favour on all the points that were addressed, it left out too many crimes committed in this case, and it left me in a compromised situation yet again because it allowed people to remain in place and to continue their criminalities against me in this case, and to continue slander, labelling, defaming, abuse, threats, intimidation, harassment, criminal harassment. It's all about entrapment, and it's all about criminal provocations, and it's all about literally defrauding me for the rest of my life because they haven't addressed any of my injuries, because they did take them on a different path to what they were supposed to go, and they did change the medical certificate to that of my injuries to that of symptoms, and they did cause me the neck injury, and they did cause me to have 2 arms with 2 lead weights. You know what I mean? I can hardly walk because of the spinal cord. And that does cause me a lot of fucking problems. So what you're left with is the police are obstructing and perverting the course of justice at all times, as are the cabinet ministers, as are the ombudsman, as are the commissioners. The Human Rights Commission isn't doing its job. The government's not doing its job. The ombudsman don't do their job. The police don't do their job. The Crown Law Office doesn't do their job because the police do not do proper investigations because they're told not to. So therefore the matters never get before the courts unless I'm willing to fund tens of millions of dollars to bring all these terrorists criminally to account. And my name's not Kim.com, I can't afford that. So, but if I was Kim.com, I would be doing it, believe you me. But on the other part of it, you know, it's they're not running rehabilitation. They're not adhering to the laws or legislation. They're not adhering to policies, procedures, or protocols. And their entire line of attack is about driving the case to last resort, using fear and violence to literally bully, abuse, threaten, intimidate their victims, using mental illnesses and brain injuries to violate and rape their victim's life, and to have their victims' lives criminally profiled under false pretenses. It's literally about keeping the victim onto the lines of attack and creating all these problems, which is then using the legal system to literally keep the victim's life tied up in legal and political garbage, which is all it's provocation, but you know, it's frustrating, it's traumatizing, it's abusive, and it's literally to carry out the ultimate crime. There's no system of closure, there's no system of address, there's no system of finality other than a death sentence. So the ways that are being left out of this, the government has complete control over. The only way they're leaving me is a last resort. It's a death sentence, simple as that. And this is what they want to play for. But I've always said, if I lift my hand once, there's going to be a bloodbath in my lung. There'll be no in between. And there'll be no fucking prisoners taken either. And I've stated that to a jury in a court of law in relation to how these people work and how these people behave. Violence is always the last resort. And the people involved in this case, they know exactly what they're doing now. By holding me criminally to blackmail and ransom at all times, by denying me proper lawful forums for addressing the crimes they're involved in. And the government not calling for the proper investigations that are required. So you're literally being left with, you're stagnant, you're stalemate, you're in Mexican standoffs, and they're passing the buck between themselves and all their other, you know, corrupt run departments, to be perfectly frank. I can't see this ending any other way other than the last resort, because I've told the government, you know, I've stated exactly what the facts are. And the government has made no effort whatsoever to address this case. You know, they want to turn their crimes into civil matters, and they want to literally keep the criminal containment of my life so they can continue their racketeering, organised crime run industry. So literally, they get to destroy your life and they get to defraud you for the rest of your life, and they get to continue the running of their racketeering and their organised crime behaviours. They get to kidnap their victims under ACC, not to run rehabilitation. They get to manufacture their own injuries. They get to use the review and appeal process to literally as smoke screens. They get to suspend all your rights and entitlements illegally and unlawfully with criminal intent at all times, and there's still no criminal charges for it. And the New Zealand people don't do enough about it, and the lawyers are all milking it for all they can get out of it, for all it's worth. And the only people who are suffering are the victims of their crimes. Now, when New Zealanders voted to give up their rights to sue, they thought they were getting a fully comprehensive run system. It didn't turn out that way. It turned into a racketeering run system. They thought they were getting all their medical treatment needs and they were being compensated. They didn't get any of that. So that's the bottom line, and I can't see any other way around this. So, where can you go from here? Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that because I think that literally tells you exactly the options that a person has, and it outlines exactly the government standing. So we'll see where we go from there.